Story 1. I can't believe how many times on Reddit, in subreddits like Am I the Asshole and All in One, young women complain that their boyfriends do not shower or brush their teeth. When confronted, the men act like personal hygiene is unnecessary and become upset with their girlfriends for trying to change them. What went wrong when you were a child? Story 2. Talking negatively about other women who wear makeup is unfair. I don't wear makeup, but that doesn't mean women who do are bad, fake, or less than. Just let people be happy. Story 3. I'm a woman who wears more subtle makeup most of the time. The number of people who try to get me to put down women who wear a lot, or as they say, cake it on, is really gross. I love makeup. It's self-expression. I'm not that great at it, and I don't have time for a lot of it most days. But I have great respect for people who have genuine skill and are willing to show it off consistently, especially those who do more dramatic looks. These snide folks who put it down are always surprised when I don't agree with them. Usually men, sometimes jealous women who are also not great at makeup. But nearly always, it's men who don't understand or appreciate the artistry. Story 4. I don't wear makeup because I don't want to look fake like others. Uplifting yourself by putting others down is not style. Story 5. I only have male or female friends. This means I am incapable of forming positive and lasting relationships or friendships with half of the population without even meeting them. I mean someone who selectively chooses friends based on gender, refuses to attempt to make friends with anyone of the other gender, or actively refuses friendship with the other gender. Story 6. Every time there is a post about proposals, weddings, and similar events, the cool girls all come out of the woodwork to brag about how little they care about thoughtful or romantic gestures. One said, "My husband threw the ring at my head after we had sex, and I loved it. I couldn't be like those shallow and high-maintenance girls." Story 7. Bragging about always dressing modestly by choice, even when it is really hot outside, and acting as if those of us who do not always dress modestly are bad people. Story 8. Royalty and morality are the bare minimum. Men and women from this ethnicity or nationality are generally worse or better. Story 9. At this point on Reddit, complaining about the Kardashians is unnecessary. I don't really watch them either, but you are just beating a dead horse to prove you have more sophisticated taste, like in The Office. Story 10. In terms of men, there is a lot of virtue signaling and soapboxing on social media, such as discussions about women's rights and reproductive rights. Story 11. Doing things differently not because they truly believe in it, but only for the sake of being different, no matter how meaningless or random the outcome is. This habit has become quite trendy among the newer generations of classical musicians. Story 12. Not dressing up for any occasion but also judging others who put effort into fashion and makeup. Story 13. Girls who do not have many female friends make me a bit wary. This is often because women treat them normally, while men give them more attention and thoughtfulness than you would expect from someone just trying to be their friend. To be clear, I say wary and do not automatically judge them. There may be legitimate reasons behind it, but many examples I have seen tend to involve women with bad personalities that men overlook because they are beautiful. Story 14. As I am Muslim, there is a myth that if girls talk with their male cousins, it means something is going on. I am close to one cousin. We grew up in the same household and have a bond like twins because he is only 5 days older. However, in school and college, this is misunderstood. I have said many times that I don't have those feelings. I feel uncomfortable thinking of a cousin as a husband, but it affects my relationship with another cousin because she married one of our cousins whom she met every summer vacation. She gives me side looks or ignores me completely. Story 15. Claiming they choose to be unemployed because they are not conformists or normal people so they can play computer games all day. Story 16. When I was 9 or so, assigned female at birth but presenting as a girl at this point, my mother praised me for not being boy crazy like Leslie. Leslie and I were not friends. The only way my mother could have heard of her was from gossiping with other mothers. Why were the mothers gossiping about a 9-year-old girl and her crushes? Leslie was not boy crazy. I do not even remember the kids gossiping about her having crushes. Maybe she had 1 or 2, but she was not obsessive by other measures. This sounded like quasi-slut shaming a 9-year-old, which is very wrong. Any crushes that she may or may not have had were most likely age-appropriate. If they were not, then I would worry for her and look at the adults in her life, not chastise her. Story 17. I am a guy who definitely is not like other guys. However, those who make a point to announce it and ensure others know are annoying. Show do not tell. Story 18. People who refuse to listen, watch, or read something simply because it is popular. Music fans of any genre who criticize pop music because it is so simple and basic. Story 19. This may not be a popular opinion, but some women look down on others for having preferences because of the mindset, you should just be grateful you got anything. I am not referring to those who don't have preferences and don't care, but to those who think they are better than others because they have no preferences and accept anything. It is fine if you are okay with a disheveled bouquet of flowers because it's the thought that counts. But some of us have favorite flowers and arrangements and are allowed to want those. It is fine if you do not care about jewelry and any metal finish does not matter to you, but some of us prefer gold or silver and are allowed to dislike something that does not fit our preference, especially if we have to wear it. It is fine if you would eat any chips from the store because you are not picky, but some of us only like certain ones. Some people can be bratty or entitled about their preferences and may not handle it well when they do not get their way. However, I have seen many instances where women say, "Who cares if you do not like it? It is not up to your standards. You should just be grateful you got anything. I would have been happy with less." The person in question was not being demanding or entitled but was still told to accept it and move on. Story 20. Traditionally, women who have children may look down on or be patronizing to women who do not, but recently I have seen the opposite. Women who do not want to have children talking about how unwise it is to have children. It feels very not like other girls. People have valid reasons to make the decision. Either way, do not criticize someone's biggest life choices just because you are choosing differently. I actually admire people who made a different choice, having children, because to me that is difficult, and I would like to hear your perspective on it. Criticizing people who have children reeks of insecurity. I am just talking about women here because I am a child-free woman who has only really heard women express opinions on the subject in real life and online. I am sure men talk about it too, but I will not comment on those dynamics. Story 21. She had rings on her fingers and bells on her shoes. I knew, without asking, she was into the blues. She wore scar. Story 22. Saying that they are not like other guys or girls is a huge red flag in my opinion. If they are not, it should be pretty obvious. Story 23. There are rare situations where this is not true, but 90% of the time when someone does not have any friends of the same sex, for example, a girl only has male friends or a guy only has female friends, it is a sign that they have some unresolved issues or hold some kind of grudge against the opposite sex. Story 24. I don't know if anyone else has met this kind of person, but to me it is women who believe every woman is ugly without makeup. Yes, straight up ugly, not just looking worse without it. I met two women with this line of thinking who, when confronted, just answered, "Oh, you just don't get it, because you are men and have never seen your girlfriends without makeup. Do you really think men grow up avoiding eye contact with their mothers, sisters, aunts, or cousins for years? I understand that being openly insecure about your body can backfire if you are surrounded by unkind people. But bringing down other women is not fair just because you feel you cannot trust your confidence." Story 25. Any behavior that is controlling or manipulating. Any lying or destructive addictions. Criminal behavior or associations of any sort. Radical, unexplainable mood swings. Deeply disrespectful comments about or behaviors toward others. Voyeurism. Cruelty towards animals. Extreme physical risk-taking accompanying the other behaviors. A dark or distinctly odd look in their eyes that seems to come from nowhere. Story 26. I'm not a promiscuous person like those other girls. Have fun being the practice girl for the men you try to impress with that line. I'm not like the other men. I seek out women friends when I'm emotional. Pretty sure those women would rather you go to therapy than use them as an emotional outlet. Story 27. Literally anyone who cheats or is in an affair. They either think their worth depends on the number of partners they have and act accordingly, or they feel as if they are better than the other person when they are only cheapening themselves on both ends. If you feel lacking, you want to fill the void by being the best at something. Story 28. Overusing phrases like, I am just built different, or people cannot handle me, usually means you are the problem, not the misunderstood genius. Story 29. Me in my teens and early 20s. I hate to admit it. Reading through what people are saying, a lot of it fits though. Story 30. Women who criticize other women for being feminine or enjoying common interests, and vice versa. Story 31. The entirety of the subreddit Ask Gay Brothers consists of gay men pretending to be straight men. It is a peak example of the phrase, not like other gays. Story 32. I will look at attractive women along with my husband. They are sacrificing their true nature out of fear of abandonment. Story 33. People who come with a lot of unreasonable trigger warnings and get offended over everything are usually oppression warriors who get offended on behalf of groups they are not part of, based on some self-righteous beliefs. In my experience, these are the most toxic people who try to police others' language to feel superior. They never actually do anything tangible to defend the groups they criticize. Example. I wondered aloud why there was Braille on the door to our university concept art classroom, given the unlikelihood of a blind student taking an exclusively visual course. A group of girls covered their mouths and exchanged looks as if I had said the most offensive thing in the world. One spoke up and said, "It's about inclusivity." I asked if it was an especially offensive question because they were looking at me as if I were Hitler, which offended them even more. Example 2. My friend referred to herself as half Arab in conversation, which was accurate. A white girl came over to inform us that the term was offensive and that being white passing excluded us from using racial slang. What was wilder was that the third person in our conversation was Muslim from Palestine and was the one to ask us about racial background in the first place. This white savior attitude was especially bizarre if they had been listening just for that. Story 34. Women allowing people to do anything they want to them, unless it is literally an art project or similar, drives me up a wall because not only is that sad to see, it makes people think they can treat everyone that way. Story 35. I do not know how much I show that I am not like other guys, but I am not in the sense that I have zero competitive spirit in me. Actually, I do have some competitive spirit, but it is a toxic and dangerous force, so I just do not engage with it at all. Story 36. Is it also bad if I say I am not like the others in the sense that I am a bit weird and awkward and I do not get the social cues? Story 37. In class, everyone is arguing with each other. And this girl raises her voice and says, "You know, I agree with the boys. They have a point." Like, no, they don't. Just be quiet. Story 38. Putting down other women and femininity to men to show how different you are. Real pick-me energy. Story 39. I don't know if this is quite relevant, but people who don't feel uncomfortable or care if someone is feeling excluded have the biggest red flag for their personality type. I will always appreciate someone who makes an active effort to include others. Story 40. As an awkward girl before I married my husband, I put, I am not like other girls. I watch football on my bio on my dating apps. Story 41. Talking in a higher tone when they are trying to guide you and show you something, or even just annoying you like slamming your shoulder when the other gender is sitting next to us or walking by. Story 42. My sister had a friend who was everything that a pick-me girl would be, so that's possibly something to look for. Looking back, you wonder how or why she was ever friends with her at all because she was just terrible. She constantly made fun of her, saying things like, "Why would a guy ever like you? You have a big nose, you're ugly." Sometimes she was really rude while visiting, to the point where she almost had to be brought home. One of the final straws was that she kept picking on me and just wouldn't stop. I am my sister's little sister, and I was probably either a toddler or not much older at the time. If someone tells you to stop picking on someone's little sibling, you are supposed to stop. But she wouldn't stop. So my parents finally told her, "You're not going to be friends with her anymore. There are a couple of red flags here with a pick-me girl. 1. If they don't stop doing something when they're told to stop, especially if it's nonstop teasing or picking on someone. 2. If they put other people, including their friends, down by saying things like, 'You're so ugly.' Just know, don't walk away from people like this. Run." Story 43. They idolize fictional characters who might be main characters, but are clearly not intended to be heroes or role models in any way. They do not seem to have realized that the character was meant as some form of critique. Story 44. When the person who claims, "I'm not like other guys or girls," takes it to a new level by pretending to be part of a community to get attention, it becomes problematic. I knew someone who pretended to be transgender and abused by her father because of it. Her father was a kind man who did nothing wrong and was unaware of the deception. After being confronted about the false claims regarding their transgender identity, the person admitted they did it to attract attention from the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and plus community in our friend group online, including me, a bisexual who struggled with gender issues before. Though I am not transgender, I consider it deeply problematic when someone falsely claims membership in a community and chooses to represent it solely for attention, especially an oppressed community still facing significant challenges today. I ended contact with that person, pretending to be not like other girls or guys, because I am in this community is absurd. If someone is willing to represent a community while being actively harmful, it can give others the wrong impression about that community. This issue extends to the furry community, where harmful individuals misrepresent the community, leading most people to see only the negative side. Story 45. Just the fact that alternative girls say they are not like other girls is hilarious. As an alternative girl, I know there are thousands of other girls just like me. Everyone is unique in their own way, but simply saying you are different just because you wear black is a huge joke. Story 46. When women judge and are nasty to other women who wear makeup, nails, or certain clothes, calling them derogatory names, it is unfair. You do not know this woman to say that. Being nasty to other women for no reason but being overly friendly to every man, even if they are strangers, is contradictory. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.